So I'll give you that one.
Again, it's not her, right?
Apraxia.
There.
Okay, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to get started. This is our legislative meeting of May the 14th. And we always start our meeting with a silent prayer and pledge of allegiance. If you could take a moment for a silent prayer, please. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, let's do some introductions.
Quinn Falter, Executive Assistant.
Christy Rischel, Interim Clerk.
Commissioner Alicia Reese.
Good afternoon, I'm County Commissioner Denise Treehouse.
Jeff Aludo, County Administrator.
Ann Schooley, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney.
Stephanie Summerall Dumas, President of the Board. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous session.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas.
Yes,
Commissioner Reese.
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
thank you so much. We have a presentation. Commissioner Dreehouse, if you'd like to lead the discussion.
Yes, thank you. And I do want to call forward Lydia Sullivan. She's with Apraxia Kids. She is here as an advocate. And please come forward to the podium. We're going to read the proclamation. We'll say a couple things, and then we'll hopefully you'll have the opportunity to speak and tell us about the work that you are doing. So, Commissioner, we're going to launch right into the proclamation. It's a proclamation recognizing May 14th, 2026 as Apraxia Awareness Day. Whereas May 14th, 2026 marks Apraxia Awareness Day, during which awareness will be raised throughout Hamilton County about childhood apraxia of speech as extremely challenging speech disorder that affects 1 in 1,000 children, with 1/3 having a genetic casual basis.
And whereas childhood apraxia of speech causes children to have significant difficulty learning to speak and is among the most severe speech deficits in children. And whereas the act of learning to speak comes effortlessly to most children, those with apraxia require early, appropriate, and intensive speech therapy, often for many years, to learn to speak. And whereas without appropriate speech therapy intervention, children with apraxia will have diminished communication skills, but are also placed at a high risk for secondary impacts in reading, writing, spelling, and other school-related skills.
And whereas that such primary and secondary impacts diminish future independence and employment opportunities and challenge the ability to become productive, contributing citizens if not resolved or improved. And whereas public awareness about childhood apraxia of speech is essential for families of children with this neurological disorder and the professionals who support them to achieve the needed services for those learning to use their own voice.
And whereas our highest respect goes to these children, as well as their families, for their effort, determination, and resilience in the face of such obstacles. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Hamilton County does hereby proclaim May 14th, 2026 as Apraxia Awareness Day in all of Hamilton County. So just a few words from us. So thank you for the work that you are doing, particularly as it relates to children who need the kind of support that you offer to make sure they can live up to their fullest potential. So very, very grateful for you being here, raising awareness about the disability here in Hamilton County and recognizing the day. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. So apraxia, is that a new name? Was it another name years ago, or?
I think they've added, since I was diagnosed, just childhood apraxia of speech,
Okay.
but I grew up knowing it just as apraxia.
So it's certainly different than just stuttering. Yes, for sure, it's a neurological sort of thing. I know growing up, my name was Stephanie Summerall, and so I could not pronounce it, so it was Stephanie Dunlaro. And so I went to speech therapy, and they are just miracle workers. So thank you for what you do.
Yeah, no, I just want to thank you for bringing attention to this, which I think is so important. And so looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Would you like to say something? Okay.
Good afternoon. I am honored to accept this proclamation recognizing May 14th, 2026 as Apraxia Awareness Day in Hamilton County. Childhood apraxia of speech is a rare neurological speech disorder that affects the brain's ability to plan and coordinate the motor movements necessary for speech. Someone with apraxia may know what they want to say, but their brain and mouth struggle to work together to produce the words clearly. I was diagnosed with apraxia when I was nearly 3 years old. For me, learning to speak did not come easily. I knew what I wanted to say, but I didn't know how to find the words. It was because of my mother's advocacy that I received the diagnosis and support that I needed to get to where I am today. For those affected by apraxia, communication is not always simple. It takes patience, practice, courage, and support. That is why awareness matters. Awareness helps families recognize the signs earlier. It helps children receive the therapies and resources they need. It helps communities understand that communication may look different for every person. Whether someone communicates through speech, sign language, AAC devices, or other methods of communication, their voice still matters. Apraxia awareness is not just about understanding a speech disorder. It's about recognizing the effort and determination behind every word. It's about making sure individuals with apraxia aren't overlooked, underestimated, or left without the resources they need to communicate. I'd like to thank you, the Hamilton County Board of Commissioners, for helping to shine a light on apraxia. With continued awareness, support, and understanding, we can help create a community where everyone has the opportunity to communicate, connect, and be heard. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So articulate, right?
Yes.
So
Beautiful.
and I know your mom is here, correct? Would you please come forward just so we can see and get her on camera?
That's awesome.
The advocate in the room. We're all advocates. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm so proud of this one. I'm so proud.
Oh, yes,
Very nice.
obviously.
We're going to
yes.
come take a picture with
We'll
you.
be down. Okay.
And if you guys wouldn't mind just coming over this way a little bit. All right, look right here. This is on her phone. Thank you. And then one more. Great. Thank you. Is that it? Okay, I want to thank Commissioner Driehaus for bringing light to that
condition and recognizing it. So thank you so much. Okay, we'll move on with any public comments online or anything? No, okay. So Commissioner Vice President Reese, if you have some comments or motions?
Yes, thank you. Couple things. I know all of us had a busy week, but I wanted to say that last week, National Day of Prayer, I held my annual National Day of Prayer and Faith Leaders in Action Summit, and just want to thank all those who came. We had about 25 churches represented at Corinthian Baptist Church. I want to thank Pastor Casey Smith for hosting. And then I want to thank special thanks to presentations that were made by Greg Forte, Jill Williams, Laura Bruner, John Nelson, Lisa Webb, Angela Rahman, and also the Derek Dansby and Felicia Bell. I wanted to thank them for that. That was really good. The other thing, I had a good meeting with Interim Director of JFS, John Nelson, to review the first quarter financial updates related to the Children's Services Levy and discuss fiscal performance and identify priorities. So that was a good meeting, good update. Also met with the leadership of the Cincinnati Museum Center, leadership of the National Underground Railroad Freedom Center, and the CEO of the Freedom Center is also the CEO of Cincinnati Museum Center, and President Elizabeth Pierce, and met with the COO, Woody Cohen Jr., and the board chair, Robert McDonald, to discuss the Freedom Center's financial gap and some capital improvements. One of the things that was brought up was parking. And I think when I was first elected, I brought this up, but I would ask Mr. Ludo to touch base with them. A couple of things. One is there is a Banks redevelopment plan, and it's more than just a Ferris wheel when dealing with them. Nobody has sat down with them as a real partner about what improvements, capital improvements to what their vision is, to include it in there, and then also parking. I think they need about 5 spaces, and when there's a game or something, they have to pay the higher amount. So just wanted to follow up on that. I know that was an issue in 2021, is 2026, and they want to revisit that. So just wanted to pass that along. One of the things I did bring up to them and the board chair, there's a couple things. One, when the Freedom Center was an idea by Mr. John Pepper, I was proud to be on the council. I think we put up the first $10 million. Then at the tourism, I got money for them when I was over tourism in that area. And then as a state representative, we got money for them. But also other projects, they get money all the time. And I just think that I indicated to Mr. Rob McDonald, the son, I think he's junior, I indicated to him that there needs to be some look at how all these other entities are able to raise money and be independent and keep moving forward. The Children's Theater has done a great job. They moved from Taft Museum to have their own museum in this tough economy. You got the Shakespeare, they have their own theater. Flying Pig, I just saw, they are building a building. You have the Playhouse and the ballet, both were building at the same time. So there is money in this area, private money, but it's just interesting that the Freedom Center, they're not getting any of those dollars, and everybody else is doing it. They're independent, the Taft Museum and those kind of things. And so we need, I told them that they need to go back, and there needs to be some ask, some people on the carpet about this. I know that, I saw when they had the situation over there, the owner of the Bengals, they took a knee And so maybe they can help because they got a whole lot of money. Forbes magazine, one of the top. So one of the things they indicated, Mr. McDonald was saying, oh, can't you all put a tax on and all that? Whoa, 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 whoa. No, we need to, how are all these other entities being able to be independently funded and able to get investment? And so I wanted to just let you know that, but I've advised them to follow up with you, Mr. Aludo, on the parking where we can help. But as far as taxing and all that, I'm not in favor of it. The large tourism grant is not gonna help them. We're talking $1 million or $2 million gap. We're talking capital improvements. It was once said, well, wait a minute, it was just too big. Well, nothing's bigger than the Union Terminal. That's the biggest, with the rotunda and the high ceilings. That is very expensive. How are all these other people surviving and getting private money? And when it comes to this, everybody claim they broke and they send them to the government. That's just wrong. And that's one of the things that's wrong in our community. I mean, we're funding art projects, we're funding murals, we're funding all kind of things. And I'm not saying don't fund them, but how is it that the Freedom Center is the only thing that can't be independent? Everybody else they're independent and everybody got money coming. So there is money out there, but it can't come running over here to the government asking us to raise taxes every time there's a project. When I'm seeing these projects pop up with all kind of gifts and money and millions, and they're building things. So I wanted to highlight that because the premise of the Underground Railroad was you had people that were slaves, they couldn't do it alone. They had the abolitionists. The abolitionists had what? The houses, the contacts, the network, and that became the Underground Railroad Freedom Center. We can't do it without the abolitionists. And they need some abolitionists that will stand up with their contacts to help with this vision. The other thing is I also delivered remarks at the Lighthouse Youth and Family Services Founders Day. They had a celebration, and I've been on them about getting a placard of the women that founded this organization. And they do have a placard, and I appreciate it, but the disappointing thing is that the women's names were not identified on the placard. So, but they do have a placard. So that's one step in the right direction. And hopefully they'll be able to add the names so that young people that come through there can look these ladies up and hopefully be inspired. It shows that ordinary people can and have done extraordinary things, as this was in 1969. So this was a very tough time for women to stand up, and particularly Black women standing up from the Baptist faith and petition the courts. And that's what created what we now know as group homes. So hopefully phase 2, they can add the ladies' names. 513 Day was yesterday. Was excited to celebrate 513 Day, but ours was very special because our 513 relief bus, and we were able to honor and recognize 212 community partners and service providers, and more importantly, and we had to say thank you to them, but more importantly, we have an annual report. We can't measure it, we don't do it. So I encourage people to get this annual report. And in the annual report, I'll give you some of the highlights. We have 300 stops that we've had. We were able to help a lot of people connect. We've gone to 30 different zip codes, 1,847 screenings, including blood pressure, cholesterol, glucose, 37 different neighborhoods, 5 UC health days, and it was amazing there. We've been able to get out free birth certificates, major marquee events dealing with back to school, youth employment, state of cancer, accessibility, everything Hamilton County. When SNAP got cut, Of course, we wanted to get the legislature to do it right in terms of what the governor should do, and also Washington, but people needed food right away. And this bus activated and reached out, and so was able to acknowledge those who helped us in a very short amount of time and helped us feed thousands of more people. And so I was able to give them the Founders Award this year. And Agape Love Ministries, Bethel Baptist Church, Evanston Community Council, Food for the Soul, Greater New Hope, ETAC, Lighthouse Youth and Family Services, North College Hill Senior Center, Whitewater Crossing, Winton Hills Recreation, Word of Deliverance Church, Lincoln Heights Missionary Baptist Church, and so many more that this group activated in a very, very short time and was able to feed thousands of families because of the partnership with the bus. I want to give a special thanks to Trevina Adams, who's done a great job, Eileen Dorville, Scott Wilson, Bridget Daughtry, Jim Tinker as well, and as well as Lisa, who have put this piece together. And I want to thank my office as well, Veda Stevens and Jackie Taggart Boyd. This was just amazing. And it was a great way to celebrate 513 Day with action. I'm trying to think, there were some other, youth and sports physicals, a cost savings of $7,200 to residents. Adult physicals, a saving of $96,040 to residents. Biometric screenings, a saving of $88,760 to residents. Birth certificates provided for free, a savings of $35,530 to residents. So we're saving money for the residents in a very tough time. So please get the annual report. I thought was very well done, and read it. And we got obviously a lot more to come. Monday, all small businesses is May 18th. We'll be at the Sharonville Convention Center. So any small business that you know in Hamilton County, send them over to the Sharonville Convention Center. Start at 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. We already have more than 1,000 small businesses have already registered, and we'll have everything from a deal room, people who have contracts looking to do business with people. You have a chance to go one-on-one with them. We have a fireside chat with Chambers of Commerce to give the tone of where we are as a county and where we are in the world as it relates to small businesses. We got free workshops, everything from how to do e-commerce, how to deal with the AI, all those things will be happening. And most importantly, our board, we have identified additional funds that we have voted for, about $200,000 that'll be available for micro grants, and you can apply for those grants right on site. So you have a small business, you have a small business question, you want to start a business, you're trying to expand your business in Hamilton County, come on Monday, this Monday coming, May 18th. So I think that's very important. I also joined my colleagues. I delivered remarks at the open house of the Hamilton County Veterans Services Commission at our new central campus headquarters in Bond Hill. And this was very important. Our board has submitted the largest budget in history for our veterans. It's totally different than what it was not too long ago when they said we weren't investing enough. We've got the largest investment now. They have a new headquarters. We've consolidated different departments and offices and entities into our central campus. And Veterans Services Commission had their open house. It was packed. Lots of veterans that were there. And now we have a more holistic approach, because they might have somebody at JFS got services but didn't know they've served our country and they're supposed to be getting other benefits. So it was just great, and I want to commend Glenn and his team, Glenn Wellings and his team did a fantastic job, and to the Veteran Services Commissioners as well and staff. That was just a phenomenal event, and more to come with more veterans able to access and have free parking and mobility, able to get to the office, which I think is very, very important. In addition, wanted to say that I wanted to take this moment. There's a lot more that I've done. We just came from Wawa. Commissioner Dumas to talk a little bit about that too. And I think they're in Springdale and they're also in Colerain, and we're the 13th in the whole state. But this one going into Silverton and the location, I think, will help even be an anchor to more development in the village of Silverton. So I want to congratulate everybody that was involved, including Mayor John Smith and the council and Economic Development Director and all of that. That's a big, big deal. So I was happy to be there this morning. I want to end by recognizing Liz Bonus of Channel 12. She was a reporter that dealt with all the health issues, and I would always watch her for just different things. She really was deep into the health, and I had a chance to be on her show because Brent Billingsley had got diagnosed with cancer and a big tumor on the side of his neck, and we had honored him here, and he has this crusade on God and cancer, and Liz just really took to him and really, said, hey, we got to help him and everything. And we had talked, and her faith was just so strong. And I had no idea that she had cancer or was fighting cancer. And it's just so touching how she was one that wanted to just give back to people, even though she's going through her own struggles quietly. And I know her husband says she never wanted to be the story. She wanted to cover the story. But one thing we can all learn from her is we've got to get early detections, and we got to keep fighting, and we got to keep fighting for a cure. And so she was complimentary of us trying to have this cancer caucus that we have put together. And we have to keep fighting. But I want to just say I want to thank her because her spirit, her work, it won't go in vain. So many people she probably have already had saved because she was educating us and having us get early detection. And so just wanted to say to Local 12 and to the community and to her family that her voice will be missed, but her legacy will live on. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Dreehouse.
Thank you. Just have a couple of things. I did a ride-along with Children's Services last week, visited a young woman who is recently graduated from Colerain High School, or not Colerain, it was Oak Hills High School. She is 18, and so we are providing some support through the Children's Services levy to help her get on her feet, get a job, get a permanent residence. And so I just wanted to see firsthand the impacts of what the levy funds are providing. And so did the ride along, very grateful to the social worker and the team that's around this young woman for allowing me to come in and talk to her. And she was great. She appreciated the support of the levy dollars and is working to get her first job. So more power to her. So, but it was a very informative visit. Also, on behalf of the commission, I delivered a proclamation at the Brewster Rhodes Roast. Brewster Rhodes is an icon in this community, both by way of environmental causes and also political causes. And so we know him from a couple different arenas. But this roast was a lot of fun. People had a lot of fun talking about Brewster. The proclamation recognized that he is the founder of Paddle Fest and the River Swim, and founded the Adventure Crew. I mean, so many things that Brewster has done to make sure that people are aware of the importance of the environment around them and the importance of taking care of the environment. So I was happy to represent the commission and offer that proclamation proclaiming his day. Also spoke at the International Association of Black Firefighters Convention press conference. So they're coming to Cincinnati in the renovated convention center. They're very excited about coming to Cincinnati. Some of the folks from the national organization had never been to Cincinnati, and so they were impressed, and we were very excited to welcome them. I was there along with Jan Michelle Lemon-Kearney to talk about all that we have to offer and make sure that they felt like they will be welcomed here when they all come in. Also attended the 513 day breakfast yesterday. It was very well done. Thanks to everybody for the organizing the event. Trevina Adams does a fantastic job along with Arlene, and Commissioner Reese, this was your brainchild many years ago, and so it was good to be in partnership, and thanking all of the agencies that come out and provide services from the bus and those that have helped organize the effort for all these years. So it was glad to be part of that. And also the opening of the Veteran Services Commission. That was really well done. Glenn Welling, he has a certain enthusiasm that's rather contagious, and so he had his team there. We had lots of veterans in the room. That location at the Bond Hill facility is more accessible, it's brighter, it's more open, it's all the things that we want to signal to the veterans related to their service, because we are very grateful as a community for those that served, and we want to dignify the service through the not only the services and the supports we provide, but also the environment in which they come and receive those supports. So free parking was something that people were noting over and over again, as they do. Very grateful that Glenn put that together and welcomed so many veterans into that space. Also talked at the MARC lunch yesterday. This is an interdenominational group of faith leaders, and they wanted to know more about the county and what we do. And so I was very happy to go over and talk a little bit about generally what we do, and also talk a little bit about the importance of the Children's Services Levy, something that they were not fully aware of. And so I was happy to deliver that message. And then lastly, we have a departure from my office. Emma Schwartz is leaving. This is her last day. She is an intern from Xavier University. She graduates in 2 days and then is moving on to bigger and better things. And so she has just been a real asset to the office. She's a very curious person, and we have just really benefited from your service here, Emma. So thank you so much for choosing to be an intern with Hamilton County. We will miss you, and good luck as you move into your next leg of the journey. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a couple things. I also met with John Nelson as it relates to the landscape, financial landscape of JFS, and trying to keep me abreast of where we are as far as allocations and funding. Fortunately, as I started to keep up with the amount that was allocated, I was up to 70 million, almost 71 million. And from talking to John, we have only spent, which is a lot, 40 million. So I was very happy about that. It's still allocated. He'll be meeting with me and others again to let us know where we are. I heard about the 513 Relief Day. It was at the same time that I had my quarterly board meeting for the Workforce Council. And so I was part of that, so I was not able to attend the 513 Relief Day, but I heard it was great. So the Veterans Open House that we all attended, I want to very proud also of Glenn Welling. He was my pick for the Veterans Commission when it first started, and we had to select someone. He was my first pick, and then he moved on up, and now he's executive director and just doing a fantastic job. So very proud of him. As I spoke there, I talked about the tiny homes. He indicated to me later on after our get together, the open house, he would be having a 2:00 meeting about tiny homes and proposals, and that the veterans are really trying to be a part of making sure that that happens. Specifically talked about a veterans village that we had seen on the news and whether or not we can help in that effort. So we'll see how that goes. And the Wawa grand opening, I attended that today in Silverton. It was great as usual, and it'll be great for Silverton as far as economic impact and people. The gas was a nice, not a nice price, but lower than some of the other ones. So a lot of people were filling up at the gas tank. Let's see. OKI Executive Committee meeting was today. I attended that. See, Eric is in the room. I want to make sure I have this right. June the 5th is the last date at 4 p.m. that the county can put in for some new grants that have come in. $60 million worth of grants are available. And so I'm sure we will not miss that deadline. So good to hear about that. Let's see. The last thing I wanted to talk about, if you had looked at the newspaper lately, our Black babies are dying twice as much in the last 2 years as none of them should die in this day and time, and the medical services that we have. And I'm not sure, there are a lot of reasons why, but we can't ignore that. I'm not saying we are. This just came out. Mary Maui talked to me about Cradle Cincinnati. They are like the headquarters or the lead people as we talk about statistics. And I'm going to get my office to have Cradle Cincinnati come in and talk about what is going on with this. We have to be aggressive and advocates to make sure that we not only look into the statistics, but what can we do differently to diminish this number. One is too many. I believe that's all I have. Did you want to say? Yeah, sure.
One update on that issue. The health commissioner, Kesterman, and the head of Cradle Cincinnati and the 513 relief bus is looking at what they can do, because some of those areas that was mentioned are outside of the city now. And so I just wanted to, as they make a presentation, what have you, just let you know that they're looking to try to get into action and seeing if we can start adding that as part of the 513 relief bus and what could be happening. So I just wanted to
That'd be
update
great.
everybody on that. As we get the information, we'll update everyone, but just wanted you to know that part too.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay, Jeff Aludo.
Commissioners, I have no bio leaves or comments today, so
Oh, okay.
unless you'd like me to talk.
No. Okay, let's move it right along then. Under regular agenda, Commission Administration.
See, I knew I was going to be right back to me. So,
Yeah.
Commissioners, regular agenda item number 1 in your packet is resolution number 5. This authorizes a purchase agreement for property at 3949 Coleraine Avenue for $925,000. This is to move forward and advance efforts related to our animal shelter property. The board has been previously briefed on this. The main business case here is it will allow us to get out of a leased arrangement and allow us to get into an owned property arrangement, which will have a pretty quick return on investment or break even for us, given the purchase price and ancillary sale of that property down the road. So with that, the administration recommends approval.
Thank you. Commissioner Reese.
No questions, no comments.
Okay. Commissioner Drew. I'm just happy to hear it, that we had mentioned, I don't know, year and a half or two about this animal shelter and trying to make a difference with our people and with our animals, so they'll have a better place to work in and also for our animals to stay. So just, this is the beginning part of it. So I'd like to make a motion to adopt item 1.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes,
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay, item 2, our engineer is here.
Good afternoon. Just one item today. This is a resolution to vacate a portion of the unimproved right-of-way for Mound Drive in Whitewater Township. We held the hearing on April 23rd, and I submitted my report to the commissioners at that time. We've evaluated the request and find the survey plat and legal description to be acceptable and recommend the vacation be approved.
Thank you so much. Vice President Reese?
No questions.
Yes, okay. No questions. I like when I see the zeros on there, so I'd like to make a motion to adopt item 2.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes,
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
thank you.
Thank you.
And so, Eric, if I can ask you about that deadline that we have for June the 5th, have we already started that process of?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We've got applications being prepared for that, as well as the Ohio Public Works Commission and the Metro TIF program. We're working on all of those currently.
Okay, thank you so much, appreciate it. Okay, item 3, MSD.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Also one item on the agenda today. This is a resolution to approve the 2026 final assessments for MSD projects that have been constructed to provide public sewer service to unsewered properties that have been completed over the last year. The owners of 21 properties benefited by 5 MSD projects will be assessed this year. All of these projects were requested by a majority, if not 100% of the owners. Most are being assessed the standard $12,000, with the exception of 3 properties that qualified for the HSTS credit, meaning that they had compliant on-site systems, so our rules and regulations allow for credit for them. So 2 owners will be assessed a reduced amount of $8,400, and 1 owner will be assessed $6,200. And that amount can be paid upfront over the next month or through their property taxes over the next 20 years in 40 semi-annual payments. We'll send out invoices if this item is approved today. We've also sent out early warning letters earlier this year to the owners, and of course have been in communication with them over the course of the project, so no surprises. And we recommend approval.
Thank you so much. Any questions or comments, Vice President Reese?
No questions.
Commissioner Dreehouse? Okay. I'd like to make a motion to adopt item 3.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Thank you so much. We'll move on to our consent agenda items.
Thank you, Commissioners. Consent agenda starts at item number 4. Item number 4 is a budget adjustment. This is an allocation of a state grant with the Mental Health Recovery and Services Board, $2.8 million. This is for a 7-county regional initiative for mobile crisis support for a 7-county region, of which the Mental Health Recovery Services Board is the fiscal agent. Item number 5 is a credit card charge with Fifth Third Bank for $29. Item number 6 is a resolution accepting a then and now with Plains Moving and Storage. This is for the Hamilton County Communications Center, $3,298. Item number 7 is the execution of a then and now with Charter Communications for $1,846. This is for cable access in offices for the Emergency Management Agency. Item number 8 is a resolution modifying various sections of the Hamilton County's personnel policy to make changes on specific policies related to ADA, remote work, CDL, alcohol and drug testing, as well as the implementation of a new policy around security records, access and authorization. Item number 9 is a JFS item. These are the bid awards and contracts for the interim director for the month of March 2026 at $15,400. Item number 10 is the renewal of an agreement with the Family Nurturing Center for parenting education services, $500,000. Item number 11 is the renewal, an amendment of an agreement with CityLink for referrals to Every Mother's Advocate program. And item 12, Commissioners, is the zoning map amendment. This is the racetrack case in Harrison 2026-01. This is the planned light industrial zoning map amendment that the board heard about in staff meeting through the public hearing, I believe, early last week. that planning indicated a resolution would be forthcoming on. This is that resolution. Item 13 is authorizing an agreement for a grant. This is a Recovery Ohio MDI, which I believe stands for Major Drug Interdiction in the Sheriff's Office. This is for cartel and drug trafficking enforcement. And item number 14, Commissioners, is the report of no objection to one liquor permit in Colerain Township. You also have item 15, which is the monthly investment report from the treasurer for April. And item 16 is the request of authorization to travel at the county's expense. This is the coroner, 1 employee to Providence, Rhode Island, and 4 employees to Baltimore, Maryland. And that is your consent agenda, Commissioners.
Thank you, Jeff. Any questions or comments, Vice President Reese?
Just got one comment. Item number 9, I know it talks about the bid award and contract authorization executed by Jobs and Family Services interim director. And I just want to take this moment to just compliment our interim director of JFS, John Nelson. He really is just, to me, has been doing a remarkable job. And yesterday, all 3 of us were at the Bond Hill Central Campus, and I'm sure we noticed just how busy. I mean, we had conference room with this group and another conference room, and then the veterans, and he has to keep all that, and then the food truck outside, and then the veterans getting fed on the inside. And I asked him, I said, well, who's in charge of, getting all this? He says that comes under me. And I know I told Jeff, Mr. Aludo, this privately, but I just wanted to say publicly, outside of just running the building, all the different things that he has to keep going and keep up with. And I just want to tell him, every time I see him, he just gets stronger and stronger and more. But yesterday was kind of what I feel our county is all about, when we just seen different groups of people. And I mean, that place was jumping with people, older people, younger people, diverse people, people in the wheelchairs, people. It was just like, and everything was smooth. And this group, we would come in and see another group, like, where are y'all going? Oh, we have a meeting on this. And then when they got a meeting over here on that. And it was just amazing to manage all of that and still manage all the employees and all the different things. So I just wanted to just take that moment to say that, since it says interim director, I just wanted to say John Nelson has been doing a great job. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Dreehouse.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to ask a question about item number 8, which is the modification to the Human Resources Policy Manual. Could you elaborate a little bit on what these changes are?
So I'll elaborate briefly. I believe Sarah Holtman is here also from HR. A lot of these are just modernizing some of these. Like I think the ADA policy in particular hasn't been updated since 2017. Our remote work policy it shows how old it is currently called the telecommuting program. So a lot of these things are just really outdated. And Sarah, since you're up at the dais, why don't you just walk through, if you would, each of those? Sarah's done a great job helping us modernize a lot of our policies. One of them is a new policy that relates to security records, access, and authorization. So if you could just walk through briefly what each of these is, Sarah, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely, Commissioners. The first one we updated, which Jeff mentioned, is the ADA policy. It has been updated since 2017. If you looked at our current policy, all it says is that we abide by the law, and then it gives some definitions. It doesn't actually provide any structure or process or tell employees who's eligible for an accommodation under the ADA, how do you get an accommodation. So we just did a really robust revision to that policy to really explain to all of our employees and managers and departments how it works, who's eligible, which is every employee here, and even applicants before they become employees are also eligible for accommodation. So we really just wanted to put a process out there so that everybody was aware what they're entitled to. The remote work policy, like Jeff said, was the telecommuting program, which I don't think anybody really understands what that actually is. So we just updated that to reflect its remote work. And then obviously, especially post-COVID, we've become a very remote workforce. So we just wanted to update that policy And before, there was a lot of restrictions and requirements employees had to go through to be eligible for a remote work program. But now, since it's a lot more common, the majority of our workforce is remote capable. We just wanted to give kind of discretion and power back to the departments to determine when their employees and operations are eligible for remote work. And then we created new forms too, so that we can be accountable for our employees when they're not here. We know where they are, when they're working, not here, and then just county equipment, so we can recover that when employees leave us. Then we also had section 6.12. That's the commercial driver's license, the CDL alcohol and drug testing policy. That mostly affects our employees in planning and development, the field operations division, and then the engineers department, or engineers office. They have the CDL licenses, and they have to abide by federal regulations to maintain that CDL and go through alcohol and drug testing on an annual basis or whenever there's an accident or reasonable suspicion. Well, the federal regulations just recently revised their own regulations, so we just updated the policy to remain compliant with them. And then the new policy that we are implementing is the Security Records Access and Authorization Policy. We drafted that policy because before we never really had a structure or a process for any department or office, whether the board of county commissioners or appointing authorities, to request or access our security records through risk management. So all of our security cameras we have around the county. So we put together a policy just to kind of streamline that process and filter it through our HR department and risk management so that we're maintaining just kind of an unbiased and consistent process as it relates to obtaining security records for employee relations matters. So like investigations or misconduct. So that's all that policy was for.
All right, thank you. Yeah, and thank you. This sometimes can be very mundane work.
Yes.
When you talk about policy manuals and those kinds of things. But it's really important that, as you say, not only our employees understand these policies, but also anybody that is interested in applying to the county understand the policy. So particularly related to the ADA, I'm glad that we're being more explicit about what we are doing to make accommodations for people with disabilities. So thank you for the work on this.
Absolutely. Thanks, Commissioners.
Thank you. Is that it? Okay. Jeff, I did not get the final number for JFS. If you could, I don't know if you said it.
I think there was only one item that had or actually two items. It was
two of them.
$515,000.
Thank you. And since we're talking about, well, let's pass this first, and then I'll bring up about the disability aspect. I'd like to make a motion to adopt items 4 through 16.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes?
Thank you. Just wanted to say about the Disability Advisory Council that started about 2 or 3 months ago that we voted on. I was just wondering, Jeff, is there anyone who not oversees, we don't want to do that, but provides consulting to them or something else for our commissioners to think about? Do we want to add that as one of our commissions or boards that we would be a part of it? I don't know what we decided as far as this group itself.
So Deputy Assistant Administrator Anson Turley provides staff support to that
Okay.
group. So Anson can answer any questions you have, or if we would like to do a staff meeting report out on it, or whatever the board would prefer.
Well, that's good to know, the staff support, and they've only gotten started, and I did get some information about them making some requests, so maybe in a couple months we may want them to report and say what they've done. I'm good with that. I don't think we need them right now unless you guys feel differently.
No, I think, Commissioner, I think the expectation was that they would recommend some policy changes, give them a little bit of time to do the work, and I know they're working on some very specific things that they want to bring in front of the board. I met with Neil Kelly not too long ago, and so I think there is an expectation that within the next few months they'll come forward with some recommendations.
That'd be great. Okay, thank you. Any further business to come before the board? I'd like to make them, I just wanted to say something about John. You were right on target. I just say ditto to all of that. Yesterday was just awesome. and to see John running around and everybody running around. It was absolutely beautiful. I walked out with John when I was leaving. I saw everybody, as you were saying, at the food truck and coming in for services. And it's exactly how it should be in an environment that was just beautiful. And thank you for bringing that up. We don't want to take that for granted. So he is doing a great job along with his staff. So, okay, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes,
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes?
thank you.